When I pushed open our bedroom door and saw my wife in bed with her boss, my brain just stalled. Her blouse was on the floor, his tie hung off the lamp, and both of them froze like kids caught stealing from the cookie jar. "Mark," Jenna yelped, yanking the blanket to her chin. "This isn't what it looks like. It's a strategy meeting for the new campaign." Her boss, Mr. Blake, went bright red and tried to reach for his shirt. My chest tightened so hard it felt like someone had sat on me. My palms went ice cold, then burning hot, all at once. For a second, I couldn't hear anything but my own heartbeat roaring in my ears. I swallowed, felt my throat click, and somehow my voice came out calm. "A strategy meeting," I repeated. "Right. Don't let me interrupt." Both of them blinked. I stepped back into the hallway, pulled the door gently closed, and turned the lock from the outside. The click sounded way louder than it should have. Mark, what are you doing?" Jenna's voice sharpened. "Giving you time to finish the meeting," I said through the door, hand shaking only a little. "Hang tight." My legs felt rubbery as I walked down the hall to the kitchen, but my mind was suddenly clear. I took out my phone, scrolled to a saved number, and typed a simple text. "You were right. Come over. They're together." I hit send. That text went to Melissa Blake, his wife. Until 6 months ago, I would have sworn Jenna loved me. We'd been married 8 years, living in a small house outside Denver. I worked in accounting at a logistics company, nothing glamorous, but steady. She'd just landed her dream job at an ad agency downtown. From the moment she started, everything changed. She came home late almost every night, smelling like expensive perfume that wasn't hers. She stopped asking about my day. At family dinners, she'd roll her eyes when I talked about spreadsheets and budgets. "Mark's too safe," she joked to her sisters. "He'll die balancing a checkbook." They laughed. I smiled tightly and pretended it didn't hurt. When I asked about her boss, she called me insecure. "You should be proud of me," she'd say, tossing her hair. "Mr. Blake believes in me. He says I have potential. Maybe if you showed some ambition, my family would respect you too." That one stuck like a splinter. A month ago, Melissa approached me in the office lobby. Small world, she worked in the same building. Her voice trembled as she asked if I'd noticed Jenna acting strange. I lied and said no. But that night, I installed a small camera in our living room and started paying attention. The late nights, the giggles on speakerphone, the emergency meetings that always seemed to happen when I was on overtime. By the time I decided to confront Jenna, apparently fate decided for me. Now, in the kitchen, my hands trembled as I filled a glass of water. Behind me, I heard the bedroom door rattle. "Mark, open this door. This isn't funny," Jenna shouted. Mr. Blake added, "You can't do this, man. We can explain." My breathing came in short, sharp pulls. Part of me wanted to kick the door down, to demand answers, to scream. But another part of me felt strangely done, like someone had quietly flipped the last page in a book. My phone buzzed. "Melissa, I'm 5 minutes away. Are you sure?" I stared at the message, then typed back, "Yes, you deserve the truth." I walked back to the bedroom, leaning my forehead lightly against the door as Jenna kept rattling the handle. "Mark, you're overreacting," she snapped now. "We were just talking. You're going to ruin my career if you make a scene." My jaw clenched. "Then I guess it's a good thing I'm done being quiet," I said softly. Her voice faltered. "What does that mean?" It meant the strategy meeting was about to get a new attendee. And for the first time in months, I wasn't the one who felt small. By the time the doorbell rang, Jenna had gone from angry to desperate. She alternated between pounding on the door and pleading through it. "Mark, you're embarrassing yourself," she said, voice shaky. "Think about our families. Think about your reputation. You're not like this." She was right in a way. I wasn't like this. I wiped my damp palms on my jeans and walked to the front door anyway. Melissa stood there, hair pulled into a neat bun, still in her nursing scrubs from the hospital. Her eyes scanned my face, then the house behind me. She already knew, I realized. She just needed the final shove out of denial. "Is he here?" she asked quietly. I nodded. They both are. For a second, my throat closed up. I never wanted to be the guy who destroyed someone else's world. But then I pictured the smirk Jenna wore when she told her sisters I was too boring to understand her new life, and my chest tightened with something hot and sharp. Melissa straightened her shoulders. "Show me." We walked down the hallway, my steps heavy against the hardwood. At the bedroom door, Jenna's voice floated through, muffled but frantic. "Mark, if you don't open this right now, I'm calling the police. This is insane." Melissa's lips pressed into a straight line. She looked at me, silently asking for confirmation. My hand shook as I unlocked the door and pushed it open. Jenna and Mr. Blake scrambled apart, sheets clutched to their chests. The air was thick with perfume and panic. My face burned. I stared at a random spot on the wall just above their heads, focusing on a chipped patch of paint so I wouldn't completely lose it. "Tom?" Melissa said, voice brittle. "So this is your overtime?" His face went gray. "Melissa, it's not. This isn't." My stomach flipped. I could feel my heartbeat in my fingertips, a buzzing under my skin. My eyes stung, but no tears came. I'd already cried, quietly, in the weeks leading up to this. Jenna looked from me to Melissa, then back. "Mark, why would you bring her here?" Her voice rose, sharp with panic. "You're ruining everything." I almost laughed. "Pretty sure you did that yourself," I said, my voice low. "I just invited a witness." For a long second, no one spoke. Melissa's hands trembled at her sides, but her voice turned icy. "How long?" she asked her husband. "How long have you been doing this behind my back?" He opened his mouth, then closed it again. Jenna jumped in, her words tumbling over each other. "It was just emotional at first," she said. "We were under a lot of pressure." "You don't understand, Melissa. Tom believes in me. Mark never—" "Don't you dare blame him," Melissa snapped. The sudden steel in her voice made Jenna flinch. "You two chose this." I felt a weird mix of shame and relief wash over me. For once, I wasn't the one apologizing. Mr. Blake swung his gaze to me, eyes hard. "You think this won't blow back on you?" He sneered. "You work for a company that does business with my agency. You'll be blacklisted from every campaign in the city." My chest tightened, but I kept my tone even. "Actually, Tom, you should probably worry about your own job first." His brow furrowed. What's that supposed to mean? Here it was, the part I'd been holding close to my chest like a card in a quiet game. "I've already forwarded some interesting files to your board of directors," I said. "Expense reports, hotel invoices labeled as client meetings that didn't match the client's travel schedule, and a nice little pattern of strategy sessions that line up perfectly with the days Jenna told me she was stuck at work late." Jenna's face drained of color. "Mark," she whispered, "you wouldn't." My throat tightened as I looked at her. "I asked you 3 times if something was going on," I said. "You told me I was crazy. You made me feel small in my own house. I'm done covering for you." Melissa let out a slow breath. "I'll be speaking to a lawyer," she said to Tom, voice shaking but firm. "And HR, and anyone else who needs to hear this." Tom swore under his breath. Jenna's eyes filled with tears. "Mark, please," she said, reaching a hand toward me. "We can fix this. Don't throw away our marriage over one mistake." I flinched back from her touch like it burned. My hands were trembling outright now, but my voice stayed cool. "You threw it away," I said. "I'm just finally admitting it." I stepped out of the room, heart pounding, leaving them to scramble for their clothes and their excuses. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't the one begging to be chosen. 1 week later, I walked into a different kind of meeting. The conference room at Blake & Hart Advertising was all glass and polished wood, the Denver skyline glowing behind it. The air smelled like coffee and nerves. Sitting at the long table were the agency's HR director, 2 board members, and the owner, Mr. Hart. Melissa sat near the end, hands folded tightly, eyes fixed on the table. She gave me a small, grateful nod when I took my seat opposite her. My heart thudded in my chest, but my breathing stayed steady. I'd spent the week at my sister's place, replaying everything until it felt like a movie I'd watched too many times. I'd also spent it forwarding documents, emails, and timestamps to the right people. "Thank you for coming, Mr. Collins," HR said. "We appreciate your cooperation in our investigation." Before I could answer, the door swung open. Tom strode in, jaw clenched, wearing the same expensive suit I'd seen crumpled on my bedroom floor. Jenna followed half a step behind him, in a blazer that suddenly seemed too sharp for her expression. She caught my eye, and for a second, the old familiarity punched me in the chest. Then I remembered her laughing at me at her parents' dinner table, saying she needed someone who actually understood ambition. The ache hardened into resolve. "What is this?" Tom demanded, dropping into the chair. "I have clients waiting. This had better be quick." Mr. Hart's expression was calm, but his eyes were cold. "It will be," he said. "We've reviewed the materials Mr. Collins and Mrs. Blake provided. There are some serious concerns." Tom shot me a glare. "You little snake," he muttered. My hands tightened around my pen, knuckles whitening, but I stayed quiet. My role today wasn't to yell. It was to let the truth talk for me. HR clicked the remote and pulled up a screen. Expense reports, hotel bills, calendar invites. Side by side with text messages Melissa had downloaded and the time-stamped footage from my home camera. Just the hallway, nothing private, but enough to show Tom entering and leaving our house on nights Jenna claimed to be working late. "As you can see," HR said carefully, "there's a pattern of misusing company time and funds for personal purposes. This raises liability concerns for the agency." Tom's face mottled red. "You can't prove what I was doing at those hotels," he snapped. Melissa's voice was quiet but steady. "You sent me selfies from a different hotel on those nights," she said. "Said you were out of town. You forgot your own lies, Tom." Jenna shifted in her seat, tucking her hair behind her ear with shaky fingers. "This feels like a witch hunt," she said weakly. "We're all adults. It was a personal mistake. Why is Mark trying to destroy my career?" The HR director looked at her evenly. "Miss Collins, using company hours and resources for a romantic relationship with your direct supervisor is a conflict of interest. It would be a problem even if Mr. Blake weren't also misusing expense accounts." My cheeks burned, but this time it wasn't from shame. It was from finally watching people call out behavior I'd been gaslit into ignoring. Mr. Hart folded his hands. Tom, Jenna, this agency has worked too hard to build a reputation based on integrity, he said. We can't risk lawsuits or client trust over this. Tom's voice went cold. Are you firing me? Effective immediately, Mr. Hart said. Security will escort you to collect your personal belongings. For a second, the room was silent. My heart pounded so loud, I could feel it in my throat. Tom surged to his feet, chair scraping. You did this, he hissed at me. You and your pathetic jealousy. I met his glare, my fingers trembling slightly around my pen. No, I said quietly. You did this. I just stopped pretending not to see it. Jenna's eyes filled with tears. Mr. Hart, please, she blurted. I can stay. I can work under a different manager. Don't punish me for his choices. HR cleared her throat. We're terminating your employment as well, Ms. Collins, she said. The documentation shows you knowingly participated and misreported your hours. We'll provide information about your final paycheck and benefits. Jenna turned to me like I was a lifeline. Mark, she whispered, say something. Tell them I'm not a bad person. I got lost. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. My chest tightened. For a moment, I saw the woman I'd married. The one who used to leave sticky notes on my lunch saying, proud of you, bean counter. I felt my throat sting. But then I remembered the way she'd looked at me that night, more worried about her career than the marriage she'd just smashed. I took a slow breath, feeling the air cool my burning lungs. I'm not here to destroy you, Jenna, I said softly. I'm here because I finally decided I deserve honesty. You made your choices. I'm making mine. A tear slipped down her cheek. She opened her mouth and then closed it again, like there was nothing left to say. Melissa stood, voice shaking but firm. My attorney will be in touch, Tom, she said. And for what it's worth, Mark, thank you. It hurts, but I'd rather know the truth than live in a lie. I nodded, swallowing hard. You didn't deserve this, I replied. Security arrived, and everything moved fast after that. Tom stormed out. Jenna followed, shoulders hunched, avoiding my eyes. The room emptied, leaving just me, Mr. Hart, and the HR director. Mr. Hart turned to me. Your documentation was thorough, he said. We owe you for catching this. If you're interested, our finance department could use someone with your attention to detail. My breath hitched. You're offering me a job? A formal offer will come through HR, he said. We value integrity here. You showed it, even when it cost you. Walking out of that building, Denver's air felt different, lighter somehow. My marriage was over. My heart was sore and bruised. But for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was standing up straight instead of shrinking to fit someone else's comfort. That night, I sat on my sister's couch, scrolling through job offer emails and separation paperwork, and realized something simple. Sometimes life doesn't flip in loud explosions. Sometimes it turns quietly, on the moment you decide you're done begging for the bare minimum. My wife lost her strategy meeting and her job. Her boss lost his power. I lost a marriage I thought I needed. But I found something better, my self-respect. And as painful as it was, that was the loudest proof I'd ever gotten that when you stop accepting less than the truth, life slowly, stubbornly starts to side with you.